everybody. So I am here in Orlando with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John Wetmore. How you doing, sir?
I love it, dude. I'm doing excellent, brother. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, man, I got to say, this is pretty awesome for me because I've started in the business September 15th of last year, so about a year and a quarter, and you were the first person that I ever reached out to, right? I don't know if you remember. Like,
I do.
No one knew who I was.
Yeah.
I just started, and I saw your videos, and I think that it's so powerful in FFL how you literally can find a person that you resonate with and reach out to them, and they're going to help you. We weren't direct downlines, and I reached out to you one day, and I'm like, hey, can you help me? And you just sent me like this 5-minute long video, like 11 o'clock at night, and we just kind of struck a friendship from there.
Yeah. I don't remember the video, but I do that a lot.
It was on Marco Polo, I think.
Oh, so I got it. Oh, okay. That's right. You did hit me up on there.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Sometimes it's easier than typing.
Yeah.
I like the text. So I'm like,
Yeah. Well, and I remember like I saw your video selling seniors over 60, and I was in the business for 2 weeks and wanted to learn how to run mortgage. And your video really talked to me. And so then I started watching all your content and just kind of took off from there. So first off, I appreciate you being on and, you know, pouring into everybody today and giving us some gold nuggets while that you're here for a conference. So super pumped to have you.
I'll try not to mess it up.
Nah, man. So you've been with FFL since like day one. You're one of the OGs.
I have, man. I was a new guy in the industry, but I was here day one, man. December 13. We started contracting in January 14 was first actual month in doing production.
And then last month, what did you guys do?
Total volume?
Yeah.
We did, October, we'll have it today. Actually, my email.
I just got it, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
I haven't looked. I want to look live. I haven't looked at the total number yet.
Hey, I'm down with that.
Yeah, let's check it out live. I know what I did in September. Hold on, let's pull it up. We did 10.477 million. 1,644 writers.
1,640. Wow.
Bananas, dude.
How many people was helped out of that? That's crazy.
Say again?
How many people that was helped out of 1,644 writers? That's crazy.
Yeah, I bet it was 8,000 apps or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So clearly what you're doing works, and I've always loved how you lead from the front. You know, you seem to always care about your people and just your growth. Like even since I've been here in a year is absolutely crazy. So I just want to talk today about your journey, man, and just kind of you pour out to people, you know, what that you feel is necessary to be successful in this business as a new agent, because we have so many people contracting every day, and just your mentality of what you think it takes to be successful and to have longevity in this business and make it past that 90-day mark.
Yeah. I think having a willingness to suck, honestly, and continue to go through it, I think a lot of people lack that.
Yeah.
You know, and you can have instant success here, man. You know, some people walk in the door and they write 50 grand their first month. I wasn't one of those guys. You know, so I can relate to folks that start slow. And, you know, the company's very different than when I started, of course. We had nothing. We had no system. We had no leads. We had no training. Day one, there was nothing.
Yeah.
It was Sean Mike telling us how to sell, you know, which worked, obviously.
Yeah. He's told me his coaching, it's like, buy leads, go out there, call them, tell them you're coming over.
It's probably not even that long. It's like, buy leads, go, you know. But, yeah, I mean, so the point of that is I think the advantage agents have now relative to then, and it's, you know, not like we walked uphill in the snow both ways kind of thing, but it was kind of like that relative to today.
With all the resources.
Yeah, dude, you can hit YouTube and get training from some of the most elite people in the industry and on any topic you want.
Yeah, that's what I did.
In a second.
Yeah.
You know, so I think what people lack is, again, the willingness to go through that learning curve, because everyone's is different. You came in slinging it, dude, relative.
Yeah.
I didn't sell what you sold. I never sold what you sell now, but I didn't hit 40 grand type month numbers till 2015.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember you called me one night or we were talking and I'm like, yeah, man, I did 10 grand last week. You're like, yeah, you still suck. You got to get better. I'm like, okay. Yeah. You're like, you're still a baby, man. You got to learn. And that really was a gut check for me. And that's what's like, I got to humble myself down. And I think that's one of the hardest things a new person learns is to be humble and to constantly ask for help. And I'm not talking about calling and begging, hey, but asking for help to get better.
If you're doing the work, it's easy, right? Most people, I think their definition of work is wrong. I think they probably overestimate how much they're putting into this. You know, I think what you did well was you ran a lot of appointments.
30 to 40 every week.
I mean, there's some people been here for 3 years that don't run 30, 40 appointments a week. I know people that don't run 30 or 40 a month and they cry why they aren't making money. So I think you understood the activity coming in right away because we preach it. I think some folks want to get good before they have a willingness to invest in themselves and buy the leads to get the 30, 40 appointments.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, the willingness to invest and run the 30, 40 is what will get you good. The dinking around with 10 a week and hoping your skill set gets so good that you can then sell a bunch to afford more leads, it's such backwards thinking, and it literally doesn't work. Not that you can't incrementally go up if you need to. There are ways to do that. But again, I think people's willingness to put the effort towards this, and again, learn it. Some people's skill set or learning curve is short, and they pick things up fast. Like you had sales experience.
Yep.
You were used to people and how to speak to people and how to influence and have those conversations. That helped you. Not everybody. I didn't have that, dude. I was an accountant. I was sitting in a closet for my,
introvert.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was nuts. And, I didn't grow up in a place where I didn't grow up in the South. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to get used to the people side of this business. It took a while. That's what I had the willingness to work. I didn't really understand just because of the size of it, until I got around like the Mark Meads and Paul McLean's and saw the activity they were putting in. I was like, oh, snap. Because the guys that trained us were running 10 or 15 a week. So that's what I was doing. But then when I saw some other people doing it at scale, I was like, oh, that's it?
That's the answer.
That's how you sell that much? I was like, yeah. And then you get better because you see so many people in such a short window, you get better fast. And so when I put that into play, I started having sales success. And then it's the same concept on the building side. It's really no different. But, I think that's it. It's really leads, work, and training. You don't have enough leads, you can't work enough, and most new agents don't do enough training at all.
Yeah, and I think in my opinion, I think that numbers in every facet of this business takes all the emotionality out of it. Like if you have enough leads, you're not going to have a terrible dial day, no matter how many mistakes you make.
Yeah, if you don't start early enough or don't dial enough,
right?
Because that happens.
Yeah, if you have enough appointments, it doesn't matter how many no-shows or how many people you can't get covered because of health issues or whatnot. You're still going to have a profitable week, right?
Yeah, dude, I was watching some stuff on the World Series this last week, and I'm not like a massive sports guy. I watch it, but barely. And we took Maddox to one of the games. We went to a game against the Dodgers in the previous round, and then we went to one World Series game. And that dude, Freddie Freeman, you know him?
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, cool. Well, I didn't know who he was till 2 months ago. I'm terrible. I found out he's been playing there for a decade plus. And, Anyway, so all the kids like him. So we're watching him, and my son's raving about him. And we go to the game, and he had struck out 3 times the game prior. And then the one we were at, he struck out 4 times. So he had 7 straight strikeouts. I'm like,
this is what all the hype's about?
Right? But they start talking about it, and it's like, dude, over the course of the year, his batting average is dope. He has a lot of RBIs, a lot of home runs, all that stuff. And then we kept watching the World Series, and throughout the entire playoffs, he came back and had a nice run after that little streak. And it's like that's normal in the world. And they were talking about, I was listening to some of the announcers talk, and they were talking about that streak that he went through. And they were like, dude, but his demeanor never changed. Because he understood that he can't have that bad streak forever if he stays focused, because he put in the work and the effort. And he came back around, and his average worked out just fine in the playoffs, and he had one of the better playoffs of his team. And they were saying, this sport is amazing, and it's a mental challenge in the sense that you're great in our sport by failing 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And I thought how similar that is to here. Again, you book 10 appointments and you pick up 3 apps. Those are good numbers.
You made $3,000
especially when you run 30, right? And you pick up 9 apps.
Yeah.
And you do that every week all year long. What's that 9 times 50 weeks? What's that? That's a big number. 450 apps, something like that. You were at $500,000 doing that.
Yeah.
Going 3 for 10.
Yeah, so 9 times 450.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's just and everyone understands that when they're watching sports. You know what I mean? Think about the new agents if they have kids.
Yeah.
And your kids were mad, they didn't go 9 for 10.
Yeah.
In a couple games in baseball.
Well,
every person here would be like, well, you're not supposed to go 9. It's 3 for 10 is great. Cheer up, kid. It's supposed to happen. Keep your chin up. And in this industry, man, grown adults melt when they have failures. It's weird, you know. So I think it's just understanding that the numbers are what they are, and play with them, understand them, and put them in your favor instead of trying to run the minimum and be perfect.
Yeah,
because that can't happen, you know.
Well, and I think that's the key is just understanding it. And I saw that, you know, and I wasn't even any good when I started. Like, I think I was pretty terrible looking back on it now, but I just understood that no matter how bad I was, like no matter how terrible I was, if I had 30 appointments, I was going to be able to feed my family.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And dude, I just quit my job cold turkey. Like I had my wife doesn't work. I have 2 kids. Like I physically could not make this work because I took everything and just threw it in this and was hoping it was going to take off. But like you said, I watched so much YouTube. I knew what to say on the phones. I knew like it just took all the guesswork out of it because it is a proven system. You just have to pour the gasoline on the fire, which is the leads.
Yeah. Yeah. And I you know, to your point, it's like you did call for help, but you knew you weren't calling for help if you ran 6 appointments that week. Yeah. Does that make sense? Because no answer could make you better.
No. It's just not enough.
Like, I can't fix your phone script if you make $112 a week. I'm not that good.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I can't fix your in-home if you see 6 people a week spread out over 5. It just, none of us are that good. Yeah. You know, Sean Mike couldn't make any money running that few.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, will you trip over a check every once in a while? Sure. And it feels good, but you can't sustain this business.
But then you have chargebacks and lead costs. And
again, it's no different than you have a pizza shop and you're closed Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You have a half day Saturday. You know what I mean? You're open like you can't stay in business.
Not going to make rent.
Never. You know, so I think people understanding that, and then it's like there is some need to get feedback. No different than like all the baseball players, football players, whatever. They have coaches. And the analogy I always use is like you see Brady, and he's obviously considered one of the best ever quarterback. And I grew up in Boston, so I think he is the best quarterback ever.
I don't think anybody can argue that.
So, you know, but he throws an interception now. What's the first thing he does? Every time. He throws an interception right now. What's he going to do? Go to the sideline, right?
Yeah.
And watch it on film.
See what
he's going to pick out that little iPad that they have, the little Microsoft
put his headset on,
yeah.
Get the iPad.
And does he do it alone?
No.
There's a coach sitting next to him.
Yeah.
Going like, hey, did you see this linebacker here? You missed this. You should have done your shoulder like this. Whatever they're saying. I don't know. I'm not part of that. But they review it instantly. Yeah. You know, and you got people that miss stuff on in-home, and they're doing the work, right? And they're missing stuff, and then they blame the client for not making the sale. Or they blame the lead or the weather or they're broke or the area. My area isn't good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, we can't fix that.
Yeah.
But if you go, could I have said something different to alter the outcome of this appointment?
Yeah.
And if you ask that question to somebody who's selling a lot of insurance, if you're doing the work, that's not an annoying question. It's actually annoying when you go do the work and don't ask for feedback. That's annoying.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're just going to keep doing the same thing wrong. You know, again, kids, if your kid did their homework wrong every day and didn't ask for help on math, it'd be annoying, right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I can help you. And it's the same concept here. It's also annoying when people ask for help and they aren't doing the work. So if you're putting in the work, please like reach out to someone who's selling a lot, and you will get the help.
Yeah, and I think in this business, this is like the only business where like your direct output equally every time is it matches your direct input. So what you're putting out is going to directly come back. So if you're putting out a ton of activity, you're going to get a ton of in return. If you're putting in half the effort, you're going to get half results and half pay, right? So your bank account's not going to be happy about that.
And I always try to explain it this way too with the activity thing, man. When I was part-time, my first year I was part-time. It was in mid-2012 I started.
Okay.
Through mid-2013. Towards like August of 2013 I went full-time. But that first year, I was working a full-time job. I was working 40 hours a week as an accountant, not a CPA, like a staff accountant, paying bills and stuff. And I was commuting an hour and a half to the office, and it was at least that, sometimes 2 hours coming back because traffic was worse in the afternoon in Atlanta. And so I'm doing that, and then I ran 10 to 15 appointments a week on a part-time basis. I ran a couple nights. Evenings, I'd run like 3 appointments 2 nights a week, and then I'd run Saturdays, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 appointments, depending on the weekend. And so it'd be 10 to 15 a week, right? But I had a full-time job, 40 hours a week. In commuting, an hour and a half. It's like 55 plus hours on my job commitment, plus 10 to 15 appointments here part-time. you know. And then my mistake was I removed the job, and I kept running 10 to 15 appointments a week. And I'm like, but some people call themselves full time with that schedule.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it wasn't full time when I had another job. It was considered part time. So removing the job didn't make this full time. Yeah. You know what I mean? But a lot of people go, it's my only job, so it's full time. I do this full time. Well, how many appointments do you run? 12.
That's not
No, you have one part time job.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? This being your only job.
I tell them you have a hobby.
100%.
Right.
It's literally a part time job if you run less than 30 appointments a week.
Yeah.
Says the math. I mean, you book 30. How many are you going to sit with?
I think if you book 30, you'll probably sit with 22 to 20.
Cool. I agree. Yeah. So we'll say 20, right? How long is your average appointment?
Mine, about an hour, but the average agent thinks about 90 minutes to 2 hours, right?
Yeah, the guy's running 30 appointments typically. How about hour and a quarter, hour and a half even. Yeah. That's still only 30 hours.
Yep.
And dialing?
2 days a week, Monday, Thursday, 8-10 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yep.
But if you, 8 to 10 hours drug out, but if a dial takes a minute, most agents aren't making $800 a dial day.
Nope.
A couple hundred, 200, 300, 400. That's like a few hours worth of dials. You just drag it out 8 hours.
Pretty much.
You know what I'm saying?
And with phone burner now, it completely.
Correct. So I'm like, nobody's running, if you're just dialing and selling 40 hours a week, unless you're running a massive amount of appointments. And you go, I drive a lot. Dude, I drove a lot to my accounting job, and that didn't count. Stop counting it. It makes yourself feel good, do it, but it doesn't really count towards income. And if you're on the scale where you're running 15 and you're sitting 10, dude, that's like 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week of seeing people. I mean, it's like, why do you expect to have massive success with that? Like Mark Mead once told me, or asked me, he goes, why do you expect my level of success with your work ethic? When I was running 10 or 15 appointments a week.
That's a gut check, right?
I was like, I don't have an answer for that one, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I started running 30 a week.
Yeah.
And things changed.
Well, and I think for me, I never even looked at the hours. I was never like, hey, I'm working this. I don't think I've ever calculated the hours I've worked since I've been here.
You don't have to when you run as much as you run.
Yeah.
I want the people who are running, who say it's full time and aren't having success.
Yeah.
Like y'all that are out there, this is your full-time job and you're broke. Count your hours. Give yourself an hour per sit and a minute per dial.
Yep.
Do the math. It will not equal 40 hours.
Yep. 100%.
And if you're broke, you should be working 80.
Yeah. You should be door knocking in between appointments.
It just.
Well, and my point is like, because I knew I was waking up every day and I was on the phones at 7:30 and I wasn't getting home from appointments till 8 to 9 o'clock at night. And I was when I first started, I did 6-7 days a week. Like I didn't take a day off my first 60 days. Then I kind of scaled it back and I would take a day off. So I knew I was putting in well over 50 to 60 hours a week.
And that's normal in this world, dude. I had my first kid at 16.
Oh, wow. So I never knew that.
Really? Yeah, I was 16 with the first one. I had 5 total, but 16 with my first one. So, I mean, I was working 80 hours a week at 16, 17, 18 years old. So I was.
It was normal.
Yeah. I mean, I had 2 jobs for most of my life, but at that age, I was in the restaurant industry. So as soon as senior year came, I left school early and worked. And I was literally working from open and close for 4 years at a restaurant.
Wow.
I'm telling you, 70, 80 hours a week then. Then following that, I was in warehouse job overnight and had something during the day. I work 2 jobs a lot. And a lot of people do. That's not unique to me. There's a ton of people out there that work 2, 3 jobs.
There's a ton of people in the U.S. overworking and getting underpaid.
100%. So it's like, why can't we put in that level of effort here, given everyone who does this knows the potential income? Yeah. We're dinking around with it. But you'll work like a slave for some cheap salary.
$8, $9 an hour.
Or whatever. 15, 20 bucks. I don't care what it is. $1,000 a week.
Parking lot, yeah.
The amount of work people put in for that kind of money is insane to me. And I did it, dude. And I'm like, and I came into this limped in. So I can speak to it, man. That's what changed my world, is to stop going like, this is hard. They're telling me no. The lead's this, the client. Like, I was that guy, dude. And I changed it because I was watching other people having success tell me the problem was me. I just decided to own it because then I could be the solution and fix it. And I just went to work, dude, and followed the system. And this FFL thing, it's ridiculous what you can accomplish here if you just follow the yellow brick road, man. It ain't that deep.
Yeah, and it's so replicatable, right? And I know we got tons of new agents, and you've been in it for a long time. And I think the business is evolving and changing, but I think the same core principles and concepts have to stay the same to be successful, right? You got to work hard, you got to be coachable, and I think you got to buy leads, right? I think that I don't really think anyone's more important than the other, but I think it has to equally contribute to your success.
Legit, yeah, I agree, bro. It is, it's not that complicated, man. I think we cover that well, and building this thing is similar in concept. You know what I mean? It's really not that different. A lot of people want to build, and they don't put enough time, energy, and effort into that.
It's a numbers game, also.
100%. And then that gets easier because you get help. See, on the sales side, dude, if all you do is sell and don't build, you're selling forever. And the minute you slow down selling, your income changes, and anything can happen. But it's like, do you really want to be doing what you do today? The exact same thing, the dialing, buying leads, going and seeing people, driving all over, Zoom sales, whatever you're doing today. Is that really what you want to do for the next umpteen years? Sure wasn't for me, So I paid attention to building from the beginning, and I was introduced to it that way. And again, I didn't build fast. I'm not that guy. Now we grow like a weed. I have a lot of help. There's a lot of people building in our agency today, but getting it started was heavy lifting, man. It was the equivalent of running 30 appointments a week plus. My deal was run 30 appointments, do 30 interviews. Me, not like
every
a recruiter.
Week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a recruiter. I didn't have a recruiter. The recruiter was me. And then the recruiters became guys like you in the agency that I was teaching how to do what I did, which was recruit. Not saying you shouldn't have staff, especially in today's day and age, how fast you can make money. I'm just saying it's like a lot of people don't do their own recruiting. I think it's a mistake, especially early. You've been here for a while and you got a bunch of staff. Who cares? Like, I don't recruit today either. You know what I'm saying? But I only stopped doing it myself. Like, yeah, when I signed with Integrity, I was still doing it. Now, granted, I was only a piece of it at that stage.
Yeah.
We have everyone in the agency, Nick and Dana, Zach, all these people, loads of, I can start naming them, it'd be too bad. There's too many. But obviously they were a big piece of the growth as well. But again, getting it started, man, I had to do that. And I wasn't trying to rely on some assistant to grow my agency. Now, do I wish I had one also earlier? Sure.
Yeah, because no one's going to care about it as much as you.
No. And they're not going to be able to do it the same because they don't do what we do.
Yeah.
You can't convince me a recruiter can recruit like one of us, right? But you shouldn't just do it alone. I'm not saying that.
Have help, yeah.
Correct. I think a lot of people, especially early, they hire the recruiter and they quit recruiting themselves.
Got to do both.
Yeah, dude. Like, who's going to teach them if you've not really done it at scale? I've hired thousands of agents myself. How many interviews I've done over the years, dude? So I can speak to it from experience. I can tell you 900 stories about getting burned and agents saying they were going to do this and not do it, or the ones that I didn't think were going to win that did win, or the ones that you think are going to win that don't. And you know what I mean? Like, just this thing has evolved, and I think you can teach it better when you walk it first. Yeah. And I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make is, again, hire your staff, hire the recruiters, all about it. But I think you should be leading the charge. No different than you should be selling more than everyone in your group if you want to grow something big. Every one of the Integrity partners sold at a high level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all of them know how to recruit. All of them did the recruiting on their own at the beginning. I think staff is an amazing thing. I think expecting a couple staff to build your agency from scratch is a big mistake.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people try to do that, man.
No, that makes sense.
It's a lot of work to help another human being who you don't know, assuming that it's not a warm market hire.
Yeah.
But to help another human being get through that process with no guarantee that they're going to stay because there's no relationship. They don't probably trust you. For you to go out of your way to help people that when it's really inconvenient, that's hard. It's a lot of hard work, And again, the average agent quits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
I've not been in nowhere near as long as you, but yes, that is 100% accurate.
Yeah. And it's a similar concept to like no shows, cancels, chargebacks, one legs. Like we don't expect those to go away as high end producers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the new agent thinks it goes away one day. I'm like, nah, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
You certainly get better at it. It goes down. But the agent mess, the stuff, it doesn't ever go away, dude. You just get better at setting expectations. You get better at deciding who to hire. You get better at promoting the system, plugging them into things. You know what I mean? You get more patience. And I think probably one of the biggest mistakes I made, and I see made a lot, is especially from us higher producers or A-type personalities, the ones that want to win and do big things. I think one of the biggest mistakes we make hiring is we treat everyone like they're us. We're always looking for us. We're trying to get everyone to write 40 grand a month, right? We're trying to get everyone around 30 appointments a week. And when I realized that I can never beat the averages, I stopped trying to get everyone there, and I started looking at the crowd and trying to identify the people who wanted it and go, hey, come over here. I can make it quicker. And really targeting and really looking for who stands out from the crowd and giving them a little more attention. First trying to get, say I got 10 people, instead of trying to get all 10 to do 40 grand a month. You know that can't happen, right?
Can't force a square peg in a round hole. Yeah.
So of the 10, I go, who's doing more than the rest? Let me work with them. Now, I can certainly talk about the 30 appointments a week and have the other 8 understand that they can't have a high level of success if they don't step it up, and that they're choosing to be mediocre. And then it's not as burdensome. It's the clarity people lack. You know, you ever get like, that guy has potential. I just wish he would do more. Like, if you ask some questions, you realize real quick he probably isn't willing to sacrifice to do more.
You literally just like made a light bulb, because I'm thinking about some people I have, and I'm thinking about the ones that I don't have to ask, and they're just working their butts off, and then the other ones that are just kind of, you have to push.
Yeah, and if you're spending too much time pushing,
put that time in the ones that are running.
Your mental energy gets drained, dude.
It does.
And you don't have the time to put into the ones that you could really help flourish. That makes sense? And like, I always use this analogy, dude. Like, there's Chick-fil-A's around here, I assume.
Yes.
I'm all over.
They're everywhere.
All over
This
Georgia.
is Florida.
Yeah, cool. Same. There's some places I go where like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I've never been. I'm like, what? Like, imagine I have a Chick-fil-A franchise, and I only want to hire people who want to open Chick-fil-A franchises. Like, who would cook the chicken? Who would manage the store? Who would run my my 5 locations? You know what I mean? Like a regional guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No one. Chick-fil-A wouldn't run if they only tried to hire Chick-fil-A franchise guys. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the mistake I made early on is I wanted to hire only the people who
only
wanted
the
to be
franchise owners.
Correct. And I'm like, no business runs that way. Similar in how we have to be really dynamic with clients, right? And you don't speak to the 22-year-old kid the same way you speak to the 67-year-old widow, the same as you speak to the 40-something-year-old couple with 3 kids. You treat them all differently. Or the guy that's angry versus the guy that's super happy versus you know what I mean? Like you adapt. Yet in the building side with agents, we tend to treat them all the same. We aren't as dynamic. That's a mistake I made.
Yeah.
I was like a one-trick pony, you know, and I really had to learn how to be dynamic and help people get from, I had to understand them to some extent, where they're at, where they want to go, and what they're willing to sacrifice in the middle to get there. Because that's different for everybody.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Everybody wants the $1 million. But almost everyone will tell you they're not willing to sacrifice it if you ask the right questions to get there.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Doesn't make him a bad person.
No. Yep. You know, some of the easiest and best agents to work with are the ones that don't sell a lot and they write 6, 8, 10, 12 grand a month, but they're okay with it. It beats working at Joe Blow's for $10 an hour. And they have a great lifestyle because they barely work, but they're okay with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't bug me.
And you got your workhorses.
Because we're on the same page, dude. You know, so it's like it's learning to be really dynamic, and that can change with time.
It did with you, right?
Yeah. So it's like meaning don't blow someone out because they're not ready to be there now. And if you go, all right, go over there. Well, don't cut them off. It's like open door. You decide you want to be a workhorse? Cool. Door's open. Let me know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I used to blow people out. So I'd treat them all the same. If they didn't want to be here, I'd be like, hell with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Next.
Yeah. And that's not the way to do it. It's like, all right, there's like fast lane, slow lane. Which one do you want to be in? And either answer is okay. I just want to know how to help you.
Yeah.
And if you only want to be here, that's okay. Here's the path. Here's how you do it. Now, the risk is you ain't going to make a lot of extra money.
Yeah.
You're going to be paycheck to paycheck. You're going to struggle sometimes. Yes, sir. And you want to go in the fast lane. I can teach you that. But buckle up. A lot more requirements for this. You know what I mean? Sacrifice. It's more things to do. There are harder pieces. Simple, yes.
Yeah.
But again, you got to sacrifice stuff. That piece is hard for some people. You know, sacrifice kids things, spousal time, vacation, family time, home, sleep. You know, it's like you have to sacrifice. I had to give up a lot of things to put the time, energy, and effort in. So.
Yeah, and the funny thing about this business, I think that the most misleading thing, right, is people see top producers. Like they'll see, you know, someone write, you know, $80,000 a month, or they'll see you at $10 million a month, right? And people see top producers and they'll say, oh, well, Tyler just, everyone he sees he closes, he just gets lucky, right? And to me, like, I laugh, and inside it kind of makes me just, it doesn't make me mad, but it just makes me like, I'm like, you literally have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, I think I probably hear no more than anyone else.
Yeah.
I leave the house at 5 a.m., I get home at 11 p.m., and I get up at 5 a.m. the next day to get started. No one sees that. I don't think anyone can appreciate your grind but you, but everyone sees you at the pinnacle, right? So they see you up here on top of the mountain, but they don't see you like fighting, clawing, like climbing to get there. Yeah. They only see the benefit. They don't see all the hustle that goes into it. The hustle sold separately, right?
Yeah. It's weird. They see like your 10 apps, right? And then they compare it to their 10 appointments. That's where they get you sold them all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know he had 22 no-shows this week, right?
Yeah. Drove 4 hours to get told no.
You know what I mean? Like 20, he got told, where I get some people go, I just had a lot of no-shows this week. All right. I had a lot of people tell me they already got it and don't need me to come over. I'm like, define a lot. I mean, like 4.
You're like, that's cute.
7. I'm like, you know, 7's not a lot, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, and
if you get 30 people no showing you, that's a problem.
Yeah. No, you'll be making jack though.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you have 30 appointments and all 30 no-show you, like,
yes, that is a problem.
That's when we need, like, all right, like,
that means you lied about your appointments.
Yes,
just to be clear.
Yes, that's impossible.
You didn't really have 30.
Yeah,
you booked them fake ones.
Yeah. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on, and just always, the thing I love is that you're very real about the business. Like, you don't sugarcoat it, and you tell people. So, you know, before we sign off, dude, is there anything you want to leave people with in this business on, you know, just a mindset, what they need to take away from this going in to be successful and to have longevity in this business?
I think, you know, the opportunity is there for everyone. It's like the thing that I understood is I had the same opportunity that Matt Smith had, right? Mark, Paul, Andrew were the top 4 selling when I started. And I was like, dude, I got the same lead vendors. I have the same carriers. They're all in 4 totally different parts of the country. Granted, Paul and Andrew are close to each other, but they're very different. They're all very different humans. You know what I'm saying? They speak different. They all have different backgrounds. Very different. But they all have the same training that I have access to. The same leads I have access to. They have the same phone script I have access to. They have the same people to help them I had access to. You know what I'm saying? The same carriers, same product. Nothing. The variable is me. And I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. I just got to figure out what they're doing differently than me. So I started asking. And the answer was across the board, leads and appointments. That's it. That was the variable. That was the difference every single time. And it's like, that's so well known now at FFL. Again, then, dude, there were like 15 people here at the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
You could start FFL YouTube right now and wake up in 72 hours and still have new content constantly rolling.
You could watch YouTube for the next 400 years, I'm convinced, and never see the same video twice.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You know? And it's like people make all these excuses. It's like it's funny. Like, do those leads work? Dude, the lead vendors in business.
It works.
Do you think they'd be in business if it didn't work? Well, I wonder if it'll work for me. We're doing $400 million in life premium. It works.
Yeah.
Just this year. I mean, I would imagine cumulatively we're pushing $1 billion over the course of 8 years. You know, it's like, kind of we proved it. You know, people are like, I want to build, but I need to prove the model first. I'm like,
just screenshot and repost.
We proved it. It's here. It works.
That was me.
Correct.
That's my biggest regret.
I hear it all the time. I'm like, why do you need to reprove what Sean Mike put together? Yeah. Like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's funny. Sean told me once, he said, when people watch things, like, they're looking for a reason.
Correct.
Why they can't do it and you can. Yeah. So, and for me, like, people that knew me knew I was in leadership. So people, they're like, oh, well, Tyler's special. So I started sharing the people that was working at a gas station making $8 an hour sweeping cigarette butts that made 30 grand last month. Yeah. And I got a better response from sharing other people's content than my own. And it's mind-boggling, or yeah,
I think it's boggling.
Mind-boggling.
I think they're
right?
G's. We should Google it.
It's crazy that we make it.
It'd be weird if it were bobbling, because my entire life I've said
it's like boggling. Off of Anchorman, right? But no, it's crazy though, because people love to see other. They're like, oh, well, that's Tyler, or that's John, or that's so and so. But I had so many people that reach out like, hey, I saw the video you posted. The girl that was working the gas station, the girl that worked at TJ Maxx, and she just made 30 grand. Like, can I do that? And I got more response from other people's success than my own.
That's normal, and it's like promoting others. Meaning, even if you're at the beginning, like a lot of people say they don't want to hire till they're good at this. I'm like, why? If Dollar General were paying $250 grand a year, wouldn't you tell your friends before you were good at it?
Before you got an orientation,
right? It's like, why are we complicating things? And it's like, if y'all would understand, like, the only difference between the people winning and the people that aren't is just the way they think and look at this thing and go after it. So it's like, it's here. The blueprint is here. You literally just have to execute it. And over a long period of time, and that period is different for everyone, you can be massively successful. You can have instant success to some extent. But to, like, change your life money, dude, over the course of a few years, literally anyone can do it, because we've all done it. There's so many success stories here now. Yeah. And I think just go out. Look, again, it's not hard to find what to do here. It's easy. Yeah. Open your eyes, pay attention. It's everywhere here. But the execution is not there for most.
Yeah.
And some people, even though they execute, they do it short term. So the consistent, long-term execution of what we have in place, there's people watching that in a year or two are going to come back and be like, I watched that video and I did it, and look where I'm at. And then a lot of people are going to watch it and not change anything they do and go, those guys, they don't know what it's like over here.
It's true. I mean, I was in corporate America for 12 years, and I never had money to do anything. Like, it was just payday to payday. And just what the business, what I've been able to give my family in the last 12 months from an experience standpoint, just from things we've been able to do that we never could have done before. Yeah. In 12 months. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's been a life changer for my family. All my kids are in private school together now, which is dope. For the 3 younger ones. So, but yeah, I love it, dude. It's been life changer for me, and it can be for anyone else too. So I hope you guys do something about it. Take the info and just go execute, man.
Well, man, thank you again. I'm super, like, it's just very surreal for me, because when I came in, you were the guy that I really identified with, and now I'm able to sit across from you in a podcast room and you share some of the stuff that changed my life. I really appreciate you doing this, brother.
You got it, man. Happy to help, bro.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it. Anybody can do this. You just got to put in the attitude, the activity, and put the numbers in your favor. So if you have any questions, reach out to myself, reach out to Mr. Wetmore, and we'd love to help you.
See you guys.
Thanks.